Oh.
그동안 내 흔적을 몇 개나
Wait, just look at the penguins. Look at them. A little bit higher. Ah, penguin. Penguin.
You're now reacting to the solo artist ZICO from the boy group Block B and his 2019 track called Being Left, released on his Thinking Part 2 album. This song features the artist Dvwn. The lyrics express the pain and confusion of trying to continue with life after a breakup. The song is composed by Bright and Light, Dvwn, and ZICO himself.
Do you think it's being left is like political? Do you think it's handedness? Do you think it's social isolation?
I think it's about a breakup.
What's the deeper meaning here?
3, 2, 1. Birds. I feel like this is like the start of a movie.
I like it when composers mimic nature, although she's actually using nature.
요즘 따라 시간이 이상해 헤어진 날에서 며칠째 살아 나지막한 바람 창틈으로 새며
That was good.
I really like how the piano's outlining the chords. Ah, that diminished chord. Yes. And then that like minor 7.
Okay. Good
But then it
stuff.
doesn't quite, that like tension, that dominant chord doesn't really resolve to like the major chord. There's an extension in it, so it sounds very unfinished.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. This is an acoustic bass, and then they slid down, or is it electric? Maybe a fretless electric. That's probably what it is, but it sounds awesome.
See, this is a minimal melody that I really enjoy. I think. I don't know. What makes it so enjoyable? It feels like talking.
That was really clean, how they built in that extra texture with his voices layering and the strings coming in just ever so gently.
Oh my gosh, that bass line. Oh my gosh. Some crazy dissonance.
Oh.
그동안 내 흔적을 몇 개나 발견했니 문득 떠올라도 그 가볼까봐
He's just killing us. Oh my god.
잊혀질 때가 됐어야 뚜렷한 형상
Yeah, don't hold him back.
I love the dissonances. It's like crunchy. It's like musical thorns. Oh, the piano! And then as it's building up, he's singing into it. That was so smart. Pull him back again. I'm feeling teased.
Wow, nice cut. Oh, I like how the texture changes every single time.
Yeah. He's just so sensitive to everything that's going on. Like, it's all so clear and it's just like honest.
I love the lower octave.
Yeah, you hear that low harmony. Yeah.
Man, I love when you have like two separate things and at the end just combine them and it works so
Yeah,
man.
I like that a lot.
Oh. There's credits.
Wait, okay, is this
movie?
like in the
Yo, wait. Whoever's making these beats is like, I'm digging it.
Probably him.
Taking out her mascara. Is it no? I don't know
Oh,
what
hey,
that's
it's
called.
the first shot of the movie. Oh, that's so good.
Birds flying in the
Oh, it
air.
reminds me of Debussy. That's who it reminds me of. That little progression.
Wow. That was so good.
Yeah, really interesting.
I really love R&B vibes. Like, this is the type of shit that I love. Like, this is the type of genre that I really love. You just have like a really good like chord progression, and the bass line is just like funking underneath.
I like the colors. I feel like this song just plays with colors so well. I didn't really think about the message very much just because the music was so good.
Well, good thing I thought about the message. So
Oh, perfect.
finish and I'll
Yeah,
think about it.
I just loved how the color of the piano mixed with the color of the bass, how it just, like, the bass was so satisfying in its own right, and the piano had a little bit of like a trebly edge to the top of, to the impetus of the note, and the drums were just so relaxed and mixed really beautifully right in the headphone space. Like, it was fantastic.
The thing that caught me at first was like the way he was like singing the melodies like very rhythmically. I thought it was a really cool narrative story, and I thought that the music played really interestingly on ideas of things feeling fine but not being fine. Like in the beginning, there was one part where the lyrics suggested something was wrong, and I almost anticipated the piano, like it was a consonant piano chord, like something that was like major or something that sounded nice. And I almost expected the piano to change to reflect it, but it didn't. So there were certain moments where I was like reading the lyrics and listening to the music, they didn't really necessarily line up. But then as the singer kept singing on, like the piano would start to kind of embody the difficulty that was being expressed in the lyrics. And I think that was a really smart way of kind of suggesting that whenever you go through something like that after a breakup, you go through this period of like, things are fine. And you kind of like, you go through this cognitive dissonance phase where you're like, well, you know, it's over. Like, I'm probably better off. They're probably better off. It's fine. And you sort of ignore your actual feelings. And, you know, usually they come out later and you have to process them as they come. But I thought that was a really smart way of kind of exemplifying the way that things might feel fine some moments but really are not, and then, you know, the next day it may be completely different.
The music video was partially what struck me. I mean, the song was mixed beautifully, and the choice of instruments was gorgeous, and I really liked the way that his singing was like very raw but also very reserved. The video itself was just visually very striking. It relied a lot upon very muted, striking color palettes. So like I was thinking of the woman with like the yellow and the green standing in the field, and this sort of minimalism of imagery. There is this element of bittersweetness to the way it's written. I mean, to have the piano at the beginning, you know, it stays on one chord for a while and it stays on another, and it's not necessarily the most complicated harmonies, but there's a lot of playing with resolution and playing with tension. So there's a lot of dissonance in the chords, a lot of like diminished chords, and then there's a lot of resolving to what would be a tonic chord, but there's some kind of extension of it, or it's the root of the chord isn't in the bass line. So you feel somehow unsatisfied by the resolutions within the music itself, and then it leaves you as the audience not necessarily thinking about that from a harmonic standpoint, feeling sort of not fully at rest. And I think this song is trying to evoke that feeling of being left, and it's accomplishing that through color and through unresolved harmonies, unresolved tension, and through this kind of reserved but very raw sound that he's getting on his vocals. And it really does leave you with the emotion I think they're trying to convey.
I love how you called it musical thorns.
Yeah, I think that's how music has been talked about with my teachers. Kind of reminds me of like the late romantics, or not late romantic, you know, stuff like Chopin, that's not late romantic. But like even Mahler, where it's like these luscious harmonies and you know, this luscious like giant movements, musical movements, and then in it there's like something tinged, like a little bit of sadness, you know. But it's like it's not noticeable enough, but it changes the perspective slightly, musical perspective slightly, and I think that's what he's going for. Because it's like she's sort of going through the motions at this point, and we don't know, because clearly this woman is not in her 20s, she's like in her 30s or possibly like going into her 40s, and it could easily not just have been, you know, breakup. That's sort of what we equated to, but she could have witnessed someone who just passed away.
Seemed like it was more.
Yeah, I think like maybe her potential, like, I mean not potential.
It's like pass away or like abuse.
Yeah, and then disappeared. You know, or like left her for someone else.
Left.
And so she's like being left behind. Like either way, it's like so ambiguous, and I feel like it invites the listener and also the viewer to sort of paint their own picture.
The last song we reacted to by him was the dance.
Any song.
Yeah, and I just really like how he shows us different sides of his music making, and all of it sounds good and fleshed out and enjoyable and artistic. The chords are, you know, they're just doing a bunch of applied things, sort of wanting to go somewhere, but then in the end just kind of settling back into that comfortable E major
Sitting
key.
in a park.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that the very last time we hear the main, is it the chorus that we, I think the last time we hear the chorus, it goes back to a solo piano sort of thing. But that piano sounds pretty battered, you know, the bass is extremely harsh and loud, but he played it very nicely. And then the melody, or there were some high notes, the dun dun, those were really quiet, and I don't think it's the sound engineer, it could be the sound engineer enhancing it, but I think the piano was already had some balance issues from the start, but he chose that instrument because, well, at least it's in tune. But on top of that, you know, it allowed the instrument to shine because it's perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect.
그동안
Whoa!